was all good. I think Woody's going to upload the video.
Yeah.
He just went over XREFs and attachments, a little bit about revision control on drawings as well. And what we're going to do today is, I'll just save the PDF here for you guys. Training, spring. Okay, it's going to be called Basic Home Piping Schematic. And let's throw it up on screen as well. This is sort of what we're going to be trying to do a little bit of today. So within AutoCAD, I've mentioned before, there's something called a schematic for P&ID, piping and instrumentation drawing that you can do. Those are just line drawings, right? They're not full representations of your actual objects, but they will let you understand your flow. So this is good for electrical as well as any kind of mechanical, in the sense that it's liquid or air moving. So what we're going to do is cover a couple things today. So before we get right into that, we just touched on this at the very end of class, but if we move over to Insert on AutoCAD, so if you guys want to start up AutoCAD and just open up a new drawing, because you can't actually get to that menu until you start a drawing. There's something called the Design Center. So what the Design Center is, essentially a content center of preloaded objects. Doesn't have a full library, but it has a starter for you to actually start inserting pre-made things. And is your computer working okay? Yep. Yeah. There's only one user. I did that.
这个把才行啊！刚才那个把是在左边的调整，现在朝着左边的调左边，就拖这个把才行。把把跑到这来。我习惯不在上，不在上。
So you do have to navigate through a few folders. What you might see at the very start is something like this. You need to go and navigate to where your software is going to be. So in this case, it was on the D drive, because that's where AutoCAD was installed. Once you're within AutoCAD, then there's a samples folder. Under that is an EN-US. That's just because it was the English install. So if you are actually installing this in different languages, you would look through a different folder. And then underneath that is the Design Center and what they've started to include already. So if you play around with it, you can actually go through and you can find a number of things that you could start designing with right away. And how it works is these are all just pre-generated blocks, right? So you're able to actually just drag and drop them in, just like so. If you guys remember, we did a little bit of a practice where a lot of these blocks were already within that home drawing, right? When we were doing that home layout, starting to play around with blocks a little bit. Well, if you were a company that already had a lot of things preset, this is a great way to incorporate a lot of standard blocks. You don't have to be remaking everything every time. So if you look through, there's some electrical ones, there's some mechanical, there's some fastening blocks in here. Again, these are all just very generic standards. And what we're going to be doing today with the PNID is you might be able to use some of these, and some of them you might have to search around or just draw from scratch. So it's a fairly, I want to say, basic assignment, but you can actually make it as complicated as you want. This is just going to be just a little bit of practice of actually applying AutoCAD as far as the things we've learned. Not necessarily learning a lot of new skills with this little assignment, but I'm just going to upload this for our online group here. Let's see, where is it? Okay, training. So under the AutoCAD Spring 2018, for those of us here, and what did I just call it? Yeah, basic home piping schematic. Okay, that should be uploaded for our online group. So they can go ahead and download that. So, looks fairly basic, right? We're just mainly looking at a typical standard home. Let's call it a 2.5 bath. So what I mean by that is there's going to be 2 full washrooms. Your half washrooms are going to obviously just have a toilet and sink, but your other 2 main baths will have a bathtub or a shower of some sort. So if you want to kick this off, the very first thing we need to show would be something like our main water supply coming in. So with that, we will need to insert some sort of valve. So if we pull up our design center, go into our hydraulic blocks. What do we have here? Let's see if there's anything that we can use. So there we go. We have a mechanical valve. What else will we need? Can you find it? Insert, and then on the far right, there should be design something.
Oh,
Yeah. And actually, let's see if we can find. Little picture to show. No great pictures. That's right. We'll just draw this out. So starting with that will be our main valve. So annotate, throw down some text. What do we call this? Small valve. So going from our main supply valve, this is now that opportunity for you to actually have to think, imagine in your mind where the water supply is going to go. Because a lot of times when you are designing things in AutoCAD, you do not always have the luxury of having the physical thing in front of you, right? So for those of you that are maybe in the petroleum world or plant design world, you have to sort of imagine what your flow will need to be. So that's what I'm trying to use the home piping schematic as a very simplistic way of looking at P&IDs to start it off. I'm going to try to get some more industrial examples so that you guys can get actual application of some of your disciplines. But we're just going to start off with this. And then from there, let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, those aren't great. Are not great. Okay. All right. So from there, let's just draw out a block. So with your main cold water supply line, what are the two things that you have in your house? Hot water, cold water, right? So to get your water heated, you'd have a branch. So from there, we can call this hot water. Actually, let's just make that a little smaller. Let's fit that. There we go. Actually, WH water heater. So branching out from that, let's imagine our home having a couple little extras in it. So it's got a water softener, water filter. A lot of times that will be actually prior to this. So let's just bump that one over like so. Copy that. So call that water softener, and go another one on our cold water line. Let's say this is the water filter. So for those of you guys doing PIDs in the past, this kind of sort of familiar to what you have done in the past? Yes? No? Some of it I'm just drawing, right? We're just kind of drawing it out, but there are some basic blocks already available under AutoCAD. there's some stuff in there. Yeah.
So we're doing.
Well, we're just kind of looking through to see what's available, right? This is like very realistically what you would do on a day where you need to start building up a PNID. You just sort of look and see what's available and pull from there, and whatever's not, you have to draw. So a couple different ways to do the text smaller. You can either go up here, and you can actually set your, let's say your text standards. So yeah, you can either set your text standard, or if you just want to edit just that one, you can actually just click on it and open up your properties. And then right here, text is 2.5. Yeah, and then right click and go to properties. So right now your text is 0.2. You can make it smaller. Yes. But if you want to set your standards, then you go click on standard and you manage the text style. And then within the text style, this is where you can actually set your standards, what you want to do. Actually, this might be a good time to cover a couple details that we might have overlooked a little bit. Within your text styles, you can actually control a few more things. You can actually set up also how you want them to be justified. So if you zoom in on your actual text that you've laid on your PNID, you see that little dot? That is your the point where you actually can move your text around. It's also what's justifying everything. So you can actually make it so that it is justified middle center. As you can see, the grab point is now moved to middle center. So if you want to make your drawings look a little bit better, you can actually control that justification right there. Center.
终点。也可以，有个也这样也可以，可以朝那个圆那个基础点，那个4个角的，这个也是可以的，这样都可以。
Alright, sorry about that, guys.
这样你就能在一靠反 case。
So from there,
不能 case 到终点去的。
we can move on. So this would be essentially your utility room. So for those of you guys living in a house, or being in a typical North American house, this would be everything within a utility room. There's no requirement to do this, but if you wanted, you can even create a hatch layer. Let's see. Let's go make some layers here. So we call this dashed. Load up the dashed. Throw that layer there. Throw in a leader. Utility room. So from there, we can move on. And let's branch this out a little bit more. So again, sort of typical North American home. All of these things are in your basement. If we want to move this up to the main floor now, let's look after our half bath. So I'm just gonna grab that. And this would become our supply for the sink, of the hot water. Oops. Another line. Toilet. And from there, these all need to drain away. This is where we can actually use one of these symbols because I did see it in here. It was a backstop, or was it? There we go. Grab a check valve. That way, flow only goes out. And I'm just going to do a little hop over the line. Oops. Everyone kind of following so far? I was hoping to have a few more symbols that we could pull from in here, but fortunately the sample pack with AutoCAD's not quite as strong as I wish it was. Now, let's see, what else can we also use? Actually, I believe we still have some more of that stuff. So actually, if you guys still have your valve pack from last time, this actually might be a really good time to grab those. So do you guys still have this available? Valve symbol package. I can quickly make a quick copy. Back into spring 2018. So it's called valve symbol. You guys can grab that. And our online group, I believe we still have it on the upload. If not, it's uploaded now. So you can download the valve symbol pack. This was just something I found right last time. This might speed things up a little bit. So unfortunately not all the valves are within our design center, so we can use it a little bit more, but that's alright. We'll have to improvise a little bit. So throw some valves in here. Name for that. backwater. Sorry, backwater. Not backflow, actually. So we got our design center here. All right. So from there, so we got our main half bath done now. We can do a kitchen. So does everyone kind of understand what's going on with this diagram so far? Or does it just look like a bunch of lines? When it comes to schematics, because it is not a true to scale drawing necessarily, it's more just about understanding your flows. It's more about just making sure that you are understanding where the connections are going. So this is very much a fluid kind of looking drawing. So this can be used for electrical, like I mentioned before. I've seen these done for ladder diagrams, so very old simplistic PLC programming. You can actually show that programming done in something like this. And it's very good for any kind of fluid flow as well. I was hoping to use a few more of these pre-made blocks just so you guys could play around with that a little bit more, but it's not quite as robust as I remembered it to be. Yeah, we may abandon this pretty shortly here. I'm gonna have to see if I can find us a better block pack so we're not having to draw everything out here like this. But yeah, it's definitely not as built up as I thought I remembered it to be. That's all right. But as you guys can see, if you look around through these different folder lists here, let's blow mine up here so everyone can kind of see what I'm talking about. So first, everyone was able to navigate to this, right? Everyone was able to find the design center, the sample one. Okay. So this is just a glimpse of a sample package. There are ones out there where you can actually be supplied an entire company's library of product. They will actually willingly give all their CAD data out in the hope that you will use their product. Because a lot of times they'll hide all their proprietary information so that it's still difficult for you to reproduce whatever they're giving you. But they'll give it to you in a sense so that it's well packaged. You're not trying to rebuild something that's existing out there. So this unfortunately does not have a whole lot of great objects, but let's see. What can I use? I think is a good example of this. So for example, there we go, a sink. So let's close this up. Start drawing. Let's say we were designing a home and there was a sink manufacturer out there that gave you 30 sink designs that they carried. Well, wouldn't it be nice if there was a full library that they offered? That way, as you're speccing out a home and showing the different sink styles to your customers, they can be visibly seen, just like this. Whether it's, you know, a quick front view of something, or your typical home design where you're looking at everything over top, right? Kind of like so. And there's your little door, even for the washroom. So just like that. So in a matter of about, 10 seconds, I've already designed a basic washroom. Right? That looks really quick and simple. And the whole key idea behind all this is that speed, right? It always comes down to speed of what you can produce through AutoCAD, because there's not really a lot of money made within drafting. Drafting is one of the most important steps to kick off the project, but drafting in itself is actually not a profitable part of the business. Drawings themselves on their own do not have a high value. It's what you can create from them that actually has all the value. So these are some basic blocks, but I just want to show you guys a couple really nice sites as well. Once you guys get into industry here and you need to start actually speccing proper product out there, you guys can make your own login onto this website. It's free to use. It's called 3D Content Central. You guys can hop onto this website right now. This is actually where I found the motor that we used in our genset example on that Saturday. So if you go to 3dcontentcentral.com, I don't know if you can browse the site without a login. I can't remember. You may or may not be able to. But once you're into the site, you can actually go right through and see actual models that companies have supplied. So this is essentially things that you could help supplement your content center with, or design center. It's a little slow right now. Let's go. There we go. So as you can see, there's a lot of different companies that are willingly giving away their CAD data. Lots and lots of companies. And then within each one of these companies, so let's just pick one, see if I can recognize any of these guys that I've used. Who do we got here? Mostly Group Valve and Automation. See what they have in there. Of course, now that we're all surfing onto it, it might be a little bit slow. Alright, let's see if we can get into this. So through this site, you can actually choose your different CAD packages. So there we go, a 2D CAD package. Choose your units you want to download them in. So let's just change that back to millimeter. Millimeter, version 2002 is fine. .twg. Now we can do a 4-view. You can even do a multi-view. Update the preview here. Give it a second. Oh boy, this one's taking a while. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna download mine. It's probably gonna be faster. Wow, slow. Usually it's not quite this slow. Usually it's a little bit quicker actually. Why is this one taking so long? Are you guys able to get onto the site and download anything? Maybe yours is going to download a little faster than mine. We'll see if you can just go through, pick a couple models that you're kind of interested in. See if you can download the block. Sure. There we go. Nice. Ready to go. Save as. Alright, there we go. So, within a few minutes, shouldn't be even a few minutes, but I now have a full CAD drawing of a product that perhaps I need to be using within my design. So you can imagine this would probably take someone a few hours to draw out properly, right? Having the ability to download pre-drawn packages such as this is an aspect of design, and it is an important aspect of using AutoCAD. So as much as using AutoCAD is about using the software itself, it's understanding that there is a lot of data out there at your fingertips. Sites like 3D Content Central is a pretty good site in the sense that they do have pretty legitimate vendors. These are all pretty big names. You will still need to be careful about the data, and that's why we've actually spent time also looking and understanding how to bring in blocks. So if I type units, I can see that I did actually set millimeters right previously on the download, and I just want to quickly double check something. I'm just going to take a measurement here, see if something makes sense. So this would be 38.1. That's a 1.5 inch opening, and I was downloading this. That is a 1.5 inch ball valve, right? So as much as it is pretty easy to quickly download objects out there, it's very important to be able to verify that you brought in a product with the right units and that it is actually correct the size. So big time saver, understanding how to use these sites. Again, spend a little bit of time. You can browse through a little bit. We'll just spend a few minutes on the site, dig through, just kind of go through something that you might recognize, anything that might interest you. Peek through, open up a couple models. Just make sure that you guys are able to download things in the right units and the units were set properly. After that, we'll move on to something else here. So you can imagine being able to download this and add this to your design center. You can imagine the strength of having these models ready to go instead of you trying to redraw or essentially recreate the wheel, right? So just click on one of the models. Yeah, click on that. Click on the actual model itself. Yeah, just you make a fake sign it, quick sign in. Just use like
sign it, okay.
Yeah. And throughout multiple companies, I've used multiple sites like this. 3D Content Central is one of them. There's some other sites such as GrabCAD. This is more an enthusiast site. So that's the thing. This is all, as much as we were talking about AutoCAD and how to bring in objects, this is also something where I want to be, not warning you, but making sure you guys understand. There are enthusiast sites where people go and create something that looks very interesting and may look right, but a lot of times you have to be careful about actually using them in your manufacturing and assembly processes, because these are people that are making things on their own time, almost for fun. They're not a manufacturer supplied product, so things may or may not be 100% correct. So you just have to be careful of that and understand the differences, because a hobbyist level of precision might be a little bit different than someone that's a technical professional, right? The level of precision that you're needing for a full build, as opposed to something that kind of looks nice so you want to throw into a CAD model. Very different uses and different kind of quality work you're going to get. Let me just grab this chain. So jumping back into my design center, I have saved a couple things here. I'm going to browse to where I've saved my files. So within this file package, right there, they block these properly, maybe not. This might not have blocked properly. block, chain, side view. Okay, jump back to my start drawing. Try that again. There we go. So how this works is, it's essentially a block viewer. As I just downloaded that one chain drawing, quickly made a block out of one of the views. This is now within my block package. So you can also jump to any other packages that you might have created a lot of blocks in. Let's see, what did I create some more blocks in? What do we have? Genset building. There we go. So remember that genset building we were working on? All the blocks that we had created in there are also available to drop in. Running out of space here for you guys to see everything. Okay. So everything I created as a block last time is actually still available. This is the Design Center. So whatever size that I had saved it though, that is going to become a scale. So that's why a lot of times it's very important to draw everything one-to-one in your model space. But as you can see, once you've done one design, you're able to reuse all that work. So that's the strength of your design center. It's not about always having to draw everything from scratch. As much as you guys are now knowledgeable about your different commands, do you want to have to draw everything from scratch again? You don't. So it's about trying to reuse everything that you've already created once. And as you can see, anything that you've done in the past is now a potential design center addition. What else do we have in here? So even that little bearing practice we did, it also has a whole bunch of different block pieces that we can actually use all over again. Alright, let's get out of this. So this one's kind of nice. So not only can you pull blocks, but anything that you've actually created within your drawing, including your dimension styles, all of your different layers, any kind of layouts you've already pre-generated, all of that can actually be added. So if I jump to brand new blank drawing, and I bring in a new layer, or previous layer, as you can see, it's already been pre-created. So all those viewports that were made last time in that old drawing that we did, this is that staircase example we did, I don't have to redo it all over again. It's already pre-generated. So all your viewports, all your different namings of the views, it's already all recreated on a brand new drawing. See, drawing 4, just made this drawing. This is already available here for me. That it also includes any kind of layers. So right now, there's a few layers now because of that layer, because of that viewport. But if I were to start just a brand new drawing again, there's nothing available right now, I can bring everything in. It's all available now. So yes, we can create different templates, save this all as a template, but if you are trying to create new templates or new standards to start from, but you have created a number of these different things in past drawings, this is where you want to start bringing in that past knowledge. That's what the Design Center is supposed to help you navigate. It's supposed to let you navigate all your past work so that you can create something new today. Save that as a new template or a new standard.
So where are you for like pre-design?
It's any drawing. That's the idea, right? So this is not necessarily any one specific spot. I just navigated to an old drawing. So we just had a question of how to get to this. So for example, if you go back to that architectural annotation, scaling, and multi-leaders practice we did, that was that big building we had with the staircase and all the different details on there. So that's probably in either the CAD project, or you can go to the spring 2018 class. So if you navigate to, do you remember where you saved the staircase?
In this computer.
Oh, it's actually on that computer. Go to, just navigate to EHTC. Just go back to EHTC. Yeah. It's on the network. Yeah, try that one. See if you can get there. Yeah. So click on that. Yeah, so you know, this up. Yeah, that one. So copy that address. Let's see how many down there. Okay, we can actually enter our address in there.
We can copy the file into my computer.
The other way to do it is open the drawing. So there's also another tab you can also open up. So up here, we've been just navigating through folders, but if you have an existing drawing open right now, if you go to open drawings, you can actually see what's available there as well. So let's say I was given that one drawing we're just talking about now. So architectural, the annotation and scaling drawing. I can go to open. I can see all the different things available to me, just as if I had navigated to it. I can start up a brand new drawing again. So I'm going to close these ones. Start up a brand new drawing. I've got my Design Center open here. I don't have any layers, right? No layers. There are no blocks available, but just by selecting, so I can click on one, press shift, or sorry, hold shift, select all of them, and it's a left click and drag. So I'm just dragging all that from the window, dropping it into my drawing, and it adds everything as if I had created it again. Same thing goes for all the blocks. So again, left click, hold down shift, and left click again to bring everything in. Actually, sorry, we can't do it all in once on those ones, but we can do that. One by one. Dimension styles can be brought in the same way. Line types, the same thing, and etc. So all of these things are standards that were part of a different drawing package, but I can now make them part of my drawing package right now. Yeah, it doesn't let you do blocks. The blocks I do one by one, but all the layers and everything else you can do. guys can imagine, right? This can save you a lot of time, right? If someone else has already done this work, set up all your standards, someone else has done all the blocks, just have to drag in. So this is sort of the extension beyond just clicking I for insert and trying to find a block, because when you bring in a block, we talked a little bit about this last time, about XREFs and the difference between inserting a block, right, as a whole drawing, and XREFs attaching external references. Well, this is how to navigate a drawing with blocks within the drawing. So there's no way to insert blocks within the drawing unless you do this. Navigate through either the design center, or you have to go into that drawing. So let's say we want to do this a little bit more. Let's say we have to do this without the design center. So I would find this block here. What blocks do we actually have in here? So we have a staircase block, for example. So this is actually a big block, right? I would then have to right block this, call this stair.dwg, go into my new drawing, type insert, browse to it, click open, and then I have my stair I can insert. It's a lot of steps. You're creating a lot of extra files now. Or we go through the design center. I find that exact same block right here. Stair. Click, drag and drop. Done. I did not have to go through the step of opening that drawing pack, finding that file, creating a right block, and then reinserting it all over again. So just practice that a little bit. We won't spend too much more time in the design center. There's only so much we have really available to us right now. I was hoping there was a little bit more piping we could have done. I'm gonna have to see if I can download a pipe package. I'll build one out. No, we don't. We have some blocks, but it's so sporadic because they're sample packages. For some reason, when I was browsing through it last time, I thought maybe a few more. Not quite as many as I remember anymore. But there's some pretty neat blocks in there. So, for example, in my design work that I'm still actually part of right now, there's actually a company that supplies all of their proprietary fasteners in a full 3D model, actually, 3D and 2D. I actually drop them right into my design work. That way, when we go to actually complete our design, it has all the right tolerancing, so I don't have to worry, did I draw that part correctly? I'm able to just drop in the manufacturer's predetermined sizes, put that right into my design. When it comes to our actual production, it's right there on the bill of materials. 2D doesn't quite have that full life cycle there. It does not automatically create the line item in your bill of material. That's one strength of 3D that 2D doesn't quite have. There are bill of material generators though for 2D, but unfortunately that is maybe one of the limitations. Maybe down the road there'll be something that can be a little bit more integrated, so that it's not such a manual entry type of system. the biggest thing is, does everyone understand how the system works now? Like you can see, they're an extension. It's .dwg. That is quite literally a drawing. So if you, let's say we navigate to this now. So this is in my app drive, software, CAD, sample, English US, sign center. So what's a good one we can go to? Let's go to this analog circuits, integrated circuits. I'm just going to open the actual drawing. So this is the actual drawing. This is what the drawing looks like. If I typed I, it would have the exact same list that I can see there. But I had to go to open this drawing and navigate this way. So what this allows us to do is actually have a little bit easier view of everything. So just like a typical Windows Explorer window, you have your different options of how you want to view everything. And that's also another reason why it's important to name your blocks in a logical manner. And it seems really minor when you're creating it, as you even saw last time or previous times. You can draw something quite randomly, drag and paste it. Paste is a block. That's not a block. But if you went back to try to find that block, would that make any sense to you? A $sign and a bunch of letters and numbers. Probably not, right? So one of those things that you have to always be thinking about is, how can I make my block naming make sense? Little shortcuts you guys take at the start always come back to haunt you later. And there are, like I've shown, throw a few examples, very easy shortcuts to take, but they will hurt your time productivity down the road. So a lot of times your time spent early on really does help you after the fact. Even something as simple as how you name your layers that you're creating. So when you go to your layer manager, make sure that they're well named. So this one that I use as an example, everything here actually makes a lot of sense, right? Architectural detail door, section ceiling, section handrail, all the way down to structural section stair, right? Everything that you see there has pretty good meaning. Some of these are, pretty specific to as far as the description goes. I'm sure it means something to whoever the designer was. It doesn't mean anything to us, but within your company, I'm sure you'll have standards as well. All right, so we can take a little quick break here. If you guys want to play around with it some more, we'll jump into something else after the break.